Brian Grimes, your real estate mentor, back with another action packed session. Today, we're going to be talking about how to find off market deals. So, if you've been looking for a way to get into this game, but you're struggling to get deals, finding deals can be difficult when you're new. We're going to break down some action steps that you guys can utilize to get your hands on some off market deals, some profitable deal flow. If you're new to the platform, like, comment, subscribe, leave a comment that says I subscribed. For everyone who leaves that comment, I'm going to send you instant access to one of my free real estate trainings. It'll show you how to get your hands on some off-market deals and high cash flow deals all across the country. So you definitely don't want to miss out on that free offer. If you're interested in the ride along, some of our different programs that we have the one-on-one mentorship program. We have the real estate ride along. That's going down in less than 30 days. So March 23rd, we're doing the next real estate ride along. You definitely want to tap into that. And the Boots on the Ground program is pretty much fully loaded. So we don't have any openings in the Boots on the Ground program at the moment. But if you want to get tapped into that, that's where we build houses for some of our mentees in the Philadelphia market. Just, text me, DM me, email me, just reach out however you got here. And, we'll work on getting you guys tapped into that. So we'll kind of push through this quickly today because there's so much to cover. If you guys have questions, drop them in the chat section, drop them in the comment section, and we'll kind of flow through there. And let's just flow straight into mindset. So the mindset for today, and sometimes I'll get this mindset from really you guys. I would say all the time, actually, because I'm talking to hundreds of people every month who are interested in the one-on-one mentorship program that we offer here. And there are lots of things that hold you guys back at the end of the day. None of it is really your individual skill set, your ability to accelerate in real estate. That's not what's holding you back. What's holding a lot of us back is we're waiting. We're waiting for a lot of things. One thing that we're waiting for is others to believe in us. So a lot of us aren't getting results in real estate because we're looking to the wrong people for support. We're waiting for our friends to believe in us. We're waiting for family or your spouse to support your real estate dream. So a lot of us are looking to a spouse who really has no interest in real estate, or maybe doesn't have the financial acumen. They don't really have a financial IQ to truly give you advice on whether or not this is a good time or a good idea to get into real estate. But you're looking to them and allowing them and their lack of support to hold you back, to say, well, my wife's not really interested, or she thinks we should just take the money and throw it into a school of hard knocks and get burned for a while. Like, you can't let people hold you back who haven't really gone out and done this, because the people who are around you, friends, family, some people are waiting for the market to be right. Some people are waiting for their personal feelings to feel positive about taking the step. You're never going to feel good about getting started in real estate. You might be excited about it, but that excitement can quickly turn into fear. And if you're normal, if you have a pulse, you're typically going to be a little bit afraid on your first deal. So you're looking at all of these people to support you and say, yeah, go do it. But here's the reality of the situation. The people who love you the most, they don't want you to fail. Their biggest fear is your failure. And they don't want to be a part of your failure. They actually don't want to encourage you, because what if you fail? And they said, go for it, or they encouraged you, or they gave you a thumbs up. They don't want to be a part of that. They're afraid of that scenario coming to light. So when you go to most people, they're going to naysay. They're going to say, no, don't do it. It's too risky. Oh, what about these scammers out here? There's so many scammers. The market's not right. I watched the news and heard something here. But tenants can burn you. You'll hear all these different things. And none of it has to do with getting actual real estate knowledge and experience. Like, none of it. So if you listen to it, you'll just stay stuck. You'll be waiting for support, that'll never come, by the way. Waiting for the market to be right. The market's never right. It's always ebbing and flowing. Waiting for yourself to feel good. You're never going to feel good. You're always going to feel anxious. You're always going to feel uneasy because you're doing something new. You're building new muscles, financial muscles, and you're stretching your comfort zone at the end of the day. Most people have never done this, and a lot of people will never really go out and do a deal in their life anyway. So you're part of the brave and bold to even be tapped in here, watching this, staying locked in and looking to get your start in real estate, a lot of people aren't going to support that journey. And that's just a harsh truth. But if you want to get results, you can get results, but it all starts with taking action, going out and just learning the game. Just do what we're going to teach you here. Like, I'm going to give you some action steps if you stick around and ask questions and educate yourself. But just educating yourself and taking action, that's what's going to get you to the next level. Nothing else will. And you have to take action now, because like I was just talking to somebody earlier today. They were like, Brian, I was like looking around, and they were driving around Philly and seeing the prices and different activity and properties being bought up and developers out working on houses. And they're like, man, this is becoming a renter's nation. Like, they're starting to see it, hearing me talk about it, but actually seeing it. Like, this city, you know, there's triplexes popping up everywhere. Everybody's now renting. And if prices keep going higher, a lot of people aren't going to be able to buy. Your kids, their kids, like, they're not going to be able to afford to buy property at this level and build a portfolio. So it's really your opportunity to go out and do it and then pass it down to the family. If you don't do it, unfortunately, it just may not get done. And that's the reality of the world that we're kind of growing into right now. So you have to take this stuff seriously, and you have to push yourself to the next level. And the last thing I'll say on mindset is, when I started, some people know I used to play basketball, played in college, played in high school. First high school game was against LeBron. So it was on like a nationally ranked team. And when I got to college, one of the seniors sat me down, and he was just like, somebody told me this when I was a freshman and coming in. And I was like, well, what did they tell you? And like, this game is designed for you to fail. This thing is set up for you to fail. And he was talking kind of about like the college structure and how, you're pushing yourself athletically, but then you also have to do the academics. And it's difficult. You don't have enough support. There's not enough time in the day. It's kind of designed against you. The cards are stacked against you. And sports is a microcosm for real life. The reality is, this 9 to 5 in this current setup, how people, trade their time for money and go to work and miss their family, and then their family grows up. You don't even spend time with your kids. You don't raise them. They're just out in the world. It's all designed for you to fail. Everything that most of us are doing on a daily basis is leading closer and closer to failure at the end of the day. Most people die broke. Most people, by the time they get to retirement age, they have to depend on friends and family who've done better than them, who've taken risks, who've built portfolios, who've invested capital and had success. You're depending on them. So many people are sleeping on the couch, even in their late 60s, 70s. You're depending on friends, family, the government. Most people just die completely destitute, where they can't enjoy their retirement. Only somewhere between 1 to 4 or 5% can even retire comfortably, even have enough capital and can retire comfortably. So the majority, what the masses of people are doing, is designed for you to fail, for the market to exploit your time and your labor, your human capital, and then just discard you. Once you get too old, you age out, you can't keep up with the technology and the trends, you're done. And they've already used all of your time. So you have to look at this thing for what it is. It is designed for you to fail. And you need to take some educated bets on yourself by building up your education. But please, like, take that to heart, because it's not going to work. Stacking your money in a 401k, hoping for the best, it ain't going to work. I'm just here to tell you, statistically, it's not working already. So you can just look at the people who've done it. It's failed for them, but you still have time. A lot of you guys, you still have time. You're not aged out. You're not done yet. So while you have time, you need to take advantage of this time and start to stack your chips. You only need one deal to start to work your way out of the 9 to 5 and into real estate full time. Just one deal. Because if you did one deal, you would have rounded all the bases, and you could just do the same thing over and over again. So let's get into some of the action steps. Guys, if you have questions, comments, drop them in the chat section. If you're getting value, like, comment, subscribe, leave a comment that says I subscribed. I'll send you instant access to my free real estate training, show you how to acquire properties for pennies on the dollar all across the country. Click the links in the description to tap into some of our free real estate trainings. You can learn more about the ride along. We only have a couple of tickets left for the ride along. That's going down March 23rd. That's going to be epic. And I don't know when the next one is going to be. It might be like later this year. It might not even be this year. This may be the last ride along of the year. So make sure you guys tap in. So how do you find off-market deals? How do you get your hands on off-market deals? Well, a lot of people talk about, getting in front of motivated sellers and kind of all these things. Motivated sellers are people who are in pre-foreclosure, foreclosure, or they inherited a property, or they have a tax lien, municipal lien. They're going to lose the house, or they don't know what to do with the house, or they could be a burnout landlord. Everybody kind of has a sense of this as you do basic research of, okay, there are motivated sellers out there. But how do you actually go out and start to get traction in this game? Like, how do you get your hands? Forget about everybody else. How do you get your hands on a off-market deal? Where do you go? What do you do? Well, these are the action steps that you need to take to focus yourself. Most people never get results because they don't narrow it down enough. They don't simplify enough and create a step-by-step process. So then you just don't know what to do. So many people will get lost like this in group courses, by the way. Group courses where there's no one-on-one coaching or support, which is why I do one-on-one coaching, because I can take you through action steps. And even if you're feeling lost, I can say, okay, you're here. I need to take you here, here, here. And then there goes your deal at the end of that process. So just keep doing these steps and you'll get there. These are some of the steps that you need to do. One is pick a location. So many people want to get their hands on deals, but they haven't picked a location yet. One of the first things I ask people when I'm coaching them one-on-one is, so where do you want to invest? Where have you envisioned building this portfolio? Are you in a priced out market? Do you want to invest out of town where your money goes further? Start to focus in on a location. Once you narrow yourself down to a singular location, it could be like 2 cities, but typically you want to get one city, one high cash flow or high opportunity city that you can invest in, and then go all in on that location. You can always expand your region as you start to get traction, but go all in on one area. Do some market research. If you don't know how, tap into mentorship, learn how. Just get the knowledge and then start taking action. But you want to narrow down on one location. One location is going to allow you to nest in a market. It's going to allow you to go out and farm a certain market. If you are too broad, you're going to need more money to farm multiple areas, and you will naturally feel like you're getting less traction, in my opinion. You're going to be spreading your marketing dollars, your marketing budget too wide. And we're going to talk about budget as well. I recommend either start in your backyard or start in a market maybe across the country that is cheaper, where you can build resources. You might know people who live there. You might have friends who grew up there. You might have grown up there but moved out of town. You may have family who's there, and family's going to know different connections. They're going to know somebody who knows somebody whose nephew is sitting on the couch, not doing much, driving Uber, needs some extra beer money, and can rip and run for you. And that's all you need. That's the only system you need to start to level up, get lift off, and get a little bit of traction. So step one, pick your location. If you don't have a location yet, there's nothing else to do. Like there really is nothing else to do. How do you do some of your market research? If you're like me, you're looking at sister cities. We love sister cities. So Philly is a sister city to New York. Baltimore is a sister city to DC. You'll have some of these big cities, and then you'll have smaller cities that are directly next to them, where if people get priced out of the big city or the more expensive city or the city with the higher taxes, they're going to move to the cheaper city. So you want to be there, because now you have a net inflow of people coming from a more expensive area to this area. So that's going to drive up prices naturally. And you're going to have cheaper valuations, better tax situation. There's a reason for a net migration into this area. So when you have that going on, you're naturally going to have a lot of market movement within that market, and you're going to be able to nest and kind of make some money. There's going to be properties changing hands and values changing rapidly. So that's the number one thing to do. Guys, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat section. We'll kind of stop and answer any questions that you go. If not, we'll flow right through this thing. Step 2, create a marketing plan. So this is the other kind of question I get, and it's related. Your market plan is related to your budget, which is why you need it. If you are starting off, and I'll get this question a lot, Brian, can you really do deals without cash or credit? What does that look like? What does that really mean? I mean, the answer is yes, but it all depends on how quickly you want to have liftoff, right? So your marketing plan can either be, I'm going to go guerrilla marketing and I'm going to go sweat equity. I'm starting off with pretty much no cash. I got bad credit, so I ain't going to the bank. So now your marketing plan is going to be designed around that. Everything is designed around your limitations so that you can go around them. Whenever you find a hurdle or a roadblock in real estate, your job is to sit back, think, and say, how can I get around this thing? Don't try to run through them. Don't run into them. Go around them. So with the marketing plan, if I'm like, somebody comes to me and they're like, hey, I'm flat broke. I'm just trying to figure this thing out. There's driving for dollars. There's virtual driving for dollars. So even driving for dollars costs some money, right? You got gas, tolls, time. You can do virtual driving for dollars. You can go on Google Earth on a free website and scan around the market to see deals that look like they could be profitable or like they're vacant properties. And you can use tools to skip trace people to get the owner information. And those tools can be very, very cheap. They could be as little as like $10 a month. Everybody should have $10 a month. And if you don't have $10 a month, you shouldn't be doing real estate. I mean, there are limits to this thing. Like if you don't have $10 a month to put into an action plan, wait, stack up more money, get a second hustle, get more capital coming in so that you can create a better marketing plan so that you can get faster results. But you can design that marketing plan to be sweat equity based. Now, if you have a little bit more capital, if you could carve out even a $500 a month budget, and that's like a good starter budget, I would say, like $500 a month, somewhere between $300 to $500 a month. You can get a little bit of software, maybe like $100 a month software platform. There's one that I'll be talking about a lot in the future where for $99 a month, you get software that can find profitable deals. You can skip trace. You get, I believe, 5,000 free skips every month. So it'll reset every month. So you can actually skip trace and get the contact information for 5,000 motivated sellers every month. So there's no additional spend on that. And as far as I know, this is the only company that does this and gives you up to like 5,000 skips. Most of these companies are charging you 14 to 25 cents per skip. So it's a substantial savings there. But get your hands on that. You can set up motivated seller campaigns on social media. So somebody could be scrolling down their Instagram, scrolling down their, Facebook feed, and then they see Brian buys houses cash as is, any condition, want a cash offer. And that can meet somebody right at that point of sale where, hey, they were feeling motivated today to sell their property. Some kid was walking down the street, eating a bag of potato chips, balled it up, just threw it in their lawn. And they're like, today's the day, I'm out. I'm done. And then they see my ad. That ad, I can set a campaign where we're running $10 a day, $15 a day. And I can get myself in front of motivated sellers with my marketing plan. I can set up bandit signs in a target area for, $100, $150 for 200 signs, and then do some sweat equity to target different locations that are high traffic when the traffic's building up during rush hour, where people are just sitting there looking out the window, and I can grab leads. We have one of our mentees who all we did was set up a bandit sign campaign. He's getting 10, he said he's getting 8 to 10 leads a month, and ended up closing 2 or 3 deals, 25,000 in commission off of a $200 marketing plan, and then sweat equity. So you can design your marketing plan around a budget that makes sense and that can get you results. So the second step is to come up with a plan. You have to get in front of people who are motivated to sell their property. That doesn't mean it's going to cost you a ton of money to do that. but you need to have a plan. So if you're not getting off-market deals, it's because you don't have any marketing plan. You haven't done step one, found a location to nest in, and you have no marketing plan. Maybe because you don't know what type of budget you need. You don't know how to design the budget. You don't know how to go out and execute on a marketing plan. But these are all reasons why you need education. This is why, like I was talking to somebody about, and like I told you guys, I talk to hundreds of people every month, maybe more at this point. And some people ask me, they're like, well, Brian, there's a lot of scammers out here. How can I be sure of it? And I'm like, listen, here's how scams work, not just in real estate, but here's how scams work. And somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. It's always, whether it's crypto, trading, real estate, any type of investment scam, it always involves somebody asking you for money, chunks of money up front. They want 25,000, 50,000, 100,000. You send me the money, and then I'll take the money and invest it for you. That's how the scam works. You send your money to somebody, and then they take your money. They tell you, I'm going to invest your money for you. Sounds very easy, very attractive. There's no work on your part, and you're going to make lots of money. That's the scam. Getting educated is not the scam. It's not. Nobody comes up with a scam to charge you nominal amounts of money to educate you over a long period of time. Like that is not the scam. That would be the scam of maybe one of the dumbest people on earth who would work that hard, versus just setting up a scam where you can grab 100K a person and come up with some incredible Ponzi scheme, essentially. So education is your way out. Education literally cannot be a scam. Getting educated on how to execute on real estate. It's just learning the X's and O's. If getting educated on real estate is a scam, then getting educated in a classroom is a scam. Don't go to school. Don't send your kids to school, because everything's a scam, right? You have to get yourself educated on basic steps. There's nothing special about a realtor. There's nothing special about a wholesaler that you go to get a deal. They're not special unicorns with a secret sauce. They just are people who targeted a location and have a marketing plan and have followed some of the steps that we're going to continue to roll through for you guys. So there's nothing special about these people. If you want the results, keep going forward, keep watching this, and then start taking steps to implement it. If you need help, you can always reach out to me and my team. Click the links in the description, book a call with me. We'll talk about, where you're at, what type of budgets you should be putting together, and how to get started. Step 3, and then I'll jump into a question that just came through. Step 3 is create a follow-up system. The money is always in real estate. It's in the follow-up. It's always in the follow-up. It is not in the initial approach. It's in the chase down. It's in the consistency of the follow-up. I mean, motivated sellers typically will sell their property to whoever they like, whoever builds the best relationship. But part of building a relationship with people is getting in multiple touches. You typically need to get 6 touches. A touch is a text, a voicemail, a phone call, a letter, somebody going to your website, somebody doing some research, somebody watching a testimonial, somebody getting educated. So you might put out educational content on how to help motivated sellers or how to help people in pre-foreclosure. You might put together a video after you learn more saying, hey, here's the 7 benefits that my company offers people who are in pre-foreclosure. Here's how we're different. And then getting that information, that's a touch. You usually need multiple touches. So that means you need a follow-up system. You can't just blast out texts and say, nobody responded, it didn't work, I'm done. Like, that doesn't work. You have to have a follow-up system. Now, there's 2 ways to follow up. One is to create like a free system, go on Google, create an Excel spreadsheet and create some columns and just make sure, there's touch 1, touch 2, touch 3, and you're kind of tracking it manually. The second is to get, some software. If you have a little bit of capital, you can get a $50 CRM program, client relationship management program, some software where you can program it. Literally, I'll put in 15 emails in a sequence that'll go out every other day for a month. And then you're kind of nurturing the people that you're trying to get in front of that have profitable deals. That's going to get you more deals. There's always this thing in this sales arena, we'll call it, and going after motivated sellers and doing creative financing, it is in part sales. It's sitting on the same side of the table. It's helping people and it's educating people, but it's sales nonetheless. If you had 10 people, 2 people are going to sell you the property no matter what, just because you got in front of them, and they're going to sell it to you for pennies on the dollar. 2 people will never sell you the property, no matter what happens, no matter how good your offer is, no matter what the price is. They're just not motivated enough. They don't have any urgency. The other 6 in the middle, they're only going to sell you their property based upon your follow-up system. So you have to have automations. You have to know what to say, when to say, how to say it. I break down a lot of this in our course content, the 100 Keys Masterclass. I actually give you guys like a script. We give you some of the chase down automations, the messages. We give you all of this stuff in the course content, so you can always tap into that stuff. But it's it's just important to stay locked in on that information. Create a follow-up system. So if you're struggling to get deals, which there are a lot of people out there struggling, you haven't picked a location, you don't have a marketing plan or a budget that allows you to continue month over month, and you don't have a follow-up system, most likely. And then we have 4 more steps. Let's get into a quick question. Guys, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat, drop them in the comment section. If you're getting value, like, comment, subscribe, leave a comment that says I subscribed. And if you want to tap into any of our free trainings, just click the links in the description. You can tap in there. This was a question. What are the steps of a double closing? A double closing, this happens. Well, let's talk about the purpose of a double closing, and then we can talk about the steps of a double closing, because many people watching don't know what that is. So a double closing, the purpose of a double closing is to hide your commission from the end buyer. So if I go to, let's say you're a motivated seller. I'm talking to you as you're watching this. So you're a motivated seller, and I approach you and I say, hey, you got this deal. You're going to lose it anyway. I'll give you $50K for it. And you're like, all right, cool, whatever. So we do the contract for $50K. But I know this property fully fixed up is worth $300,000. So I just got it at a steal from you. You don't know that because you don't really sell properties, but I got it at a steal. So I know the cost of the renovation is only like $100K. So I got it at 50, 100K, property's worth 300,000 or something crazy. So I say, I can make a ton of money off this deal. This deal can make me more than most people's 9 to 5 makes them in a year. I'm going to mark it up $50,000. I'm going to mark it up to 100K because I know a developer can come in, put 100 into it. They're in 200K, and then they can still go flip it for 300, 350,000 and make their money. So I'm just going to grab 50K off the contract and run, right? So I can do one of 2 things. I can wholesale the deal. So I can just come in with a assignment contract and say, hey, I'm assigning the property to this buyer for at $100,000 purchase price. But what's going to happen in an assignment contract is when I get to the closing table and that HUD-1 statement comes out, they're going to see a $50,000 markup in the HUD. So they're going to see exactly what I got the contract for and the markup. And they're going to say, whoa, I'm not buying this deal from you. You got it for 50K. You're trying to sell it to me for 100K. This is a ripoff. Even though they can make 100,000 just putting the work into it and flipping it, human nature is they don't want to see you win. They don't want to see it. So they're going to back out of the deal. They're just going to not close just off of the principle of it, because they're going to feel like, well, if he got it for 50, he could just take 60 and take 10,000 and the rest should go to me. There's just this back and forth, and they'll walk away. They'll kill the deal. It could hurt you if you're under a contract with the seller and you need to move that property in 90 days or something like that. You have some type of a constraint. This could hurt you. So the double close is when you do an A to B and a B to C contract, 2 separate contracts simultaneously. So now I'm going to get a closing company, a title company that can conduct a double close. Not every title company does this because there can be wrinkles and issues that are happening there. Also, a lot of lenders don't deal with double closes because there's almost like a escrowing period of like maybe a couple of days where title has transferred twice and things can go wrong and a lender could have put out money and gotten burned, or the title could be fraudulent. There could be issues there. But what this double close is going to allow me to do is go to the seller and say, I'm going to buy it for 50, and then go to the buyer and say, I'm going to sell it to you at 100. And I can execute both contracts essentially simultaneously, so that as I'm executing, the buyer will never see that 50K. He's only going to see my number. He's going to think I owned it for 50 and just marked it up to him. And then the seller is never going to see the end user as well. They're just two separate closings happening at the same time. So it's not showing my commission rate to the end buyer. It's eliminating the issue. And that's the purpose of the double close. And that's, to a degree, the steps that are involved in a double close. It's creating an A to B contract directly with the seller, and then an A, which would be me and you, and then a B to C contract with the buyer, which would be me and whoever's going to be the developer who's going to buy this property, put their money in, and then try to flip it or refinance out of it and hold it. We go into incredible detail on this in the 100 Keys Masterclass as we break out how to do creative financing. Because in order to be a creative financing specialist, you need to know this information like I know this information, essentially. And you can. You just need to go through the course content a couple times. We break it out with pictures and a lot of movement and everything. And that will help you to master some of these techniques. We had another question. And guys, keep the questions coming. If you got value from that, if you didn't even know what a double close is, but maybe you do now, like, comment, subscribe, leave a comment that says I subscribe, stay tapped in. I heard in some states like Illinois, you have to do double close because they're cracking down on wholesalers. Exactly. They are cracking down on wholesalers in some states. There's been a lot of pushback there. Whenever you have states, especially states with large senior populations, I mean, almost all states will have larger senior populations, but there are some that have more seniors than others. You'll see a lot of pushback on double close on wholesaling, because they think it's like predatory. So, you're going to deal with a little bit of that at times. But it's not necessarily a cracking down. There's just like they're requiring you to register as a wholesaler. So whenever you're dealing with the state, city, municipality, they just want their piece of the pie. So they're going to come up with some type of license for wholesalers, and there ain't no test. It's just, give me $500. Here's your license. So they just want to get a cut of the action. And then that makes them feel like they can regulate it, because then if you do something wrong, they can take your license and then you can't wholesale anymore. So it does provide some degree of regulation, but real estate is one of the most unregulated financial industries remaining. So how do you acquire dollar houses? You'd have to be more specific on what you mean by dollar houses. If you mean properties for pennies on the dollar, it's with creative financing. It's learning the strategies. Step one is learn about subject to lease purchase options, wraparound mortgages, sandwich lease options, land contracts. Learn the game. And then once you learn, you start doing these steps that we're talking about. Start to micro focus on the area, create a marketing budget, follow-up systems, and then we'll get into a couple of more steps. Are there states that you can't do double closings? I'll have to research that. I don't believe so. I don't think it's a state thing, because it's not illegal. It's not unethical to do a double closing. There are just lenders that won't finance double closings. And then there are title companies that aren't well versed in double closings, because double closing is a investor strategy. Only, I would say, the highest use of a double closing is by an investor. It is not by, mom and pop looking to buy a owner occupied house. And a lot of the title companies, if you think about who they're set up to serve, they're mostly set up to serve mom and pop, people who are just buying and selling, doing normal transactions. But then you'll have these investor friendly title companies and closing companies that will kind of deal with this stuff. But it's a specialty. So you need to know what's going on behind the veil. And that's why you want to get educated, because in order to get in front of a motivated seller and educate them, you need to know what you're talking about and you need to know what you're doing. So you have to get educated first, because when you go to a motivated seller, they have never heard of these concepts. They don't know what a double close is. They don't know what subject to is. They don't know what a lease purchase option is. So you have to be able to educate them at a certain level. And then once they're educated, you can then close and say, okay, so now you see how this benefits you. Okay, so here's how we're going to get you the money. Here's how we're going to transfer the property. Here's how everything's going to work. But a lot of that is education. So in order to educate somebody else, you need to know it well enough to teach it. Let's tap into another step. Have multiple solutions to their problems. And we kind of covered that a little bit, step 4. So once you've picked your location, you've created your marketing plan, and you're starting to execute it and follow up, you're going to get on the phone with motivated sellers. I repeat, you are going to get on the phone with motivated sellers. It's not that hard. There are 2 million foreclosures every year. So those are 2 million people that got foreclosed on. That means nobody got to them. Nobody came to them with the creative financing solution and was able to educate them. So they just got foreclosed on and lost their property. If they were going to lose their property, they would have just deeded it over to you if you had a solution to their problem. So there aren't enough people who know creative financing to even begin to solve enough people's problems. But as a creative financing specialist, when you start to learn how to get these deals deeded over to you for pennies on a dollar, you need to have multiple solutions to the problems. And that's kind of the benefit of this. A wholesaler is somebody who just walks in and says, give me the property for 50 grand. I'm going to mark it up 10 grand to 60 and I'll sell it to somebody else. That's a wholesaler. When there's a property that can't be transacted like that, say there's a property where it's like, I owe 105,000 and the property's worth 1 cent. By the time I pay realtor commissions and transfer taxes and closing costs, I'm underwater on this deal and I'm already in foreclosure. I don't have the capital. How can you help me? Well, you can't just go to them and say, well, just give me the property for 50K. Bro, I owe 105 and it's only worth 110. If I could do that, I wouldn't have this problem. Well, why don't you just sell it on the MLS through a realtor? Because then you got to pay 6% to the realtor. Now you're underwater. Now you're paying money to close. If you could pay money to sell your property, you wouldn't be in pre-foreclosure, would you? So you need a creative financing solution, and creative financing specialists have multiple solutions to these problems. So that's the value of learning all of this stuff, is that now you can walk into somebody's house and say, look, I have a solution for that. We have multiple ways of structuring these deals. We will find a solution that works for you. I just need to see the property, make sure it's in good condition, ask you a couple questions. How soon are you looking to sell this thing? What's making you want to sell? When's the last time you renovated? And you start getting into your fact find. Well, what price can you give me? Listen, I just want to gather the information. I'm going to come back and put together an offer. I just want to take this information back to my partner. We're going to run the numbers. We're going to get you the best offer possible. And then you call me. You don't have a partner. You just call me. And you're like, hey, so what should I do here? How should we structure this thing to make sense of the deal? So multiple solutions. Going in with one solution and that solution doesn't work, you're leaving money on the table. So as soon as that solution doesn't work, now you're out of the game. Got to have multiple. It's a big part of it. Guys, if you get value, like, comment, subscribe. Let's keep these likes up. Share the content with somebody else who you want to get value as well. This one might get hairy. Senior care home, renovation of ranch style elementary school, capacity 70 units commercial. Would you consider, if you're able to get school as a tax sale? Not necessarily. That's a pretty large facility. The costs of setting it up could be astronomical for like a 70 unit facility. The amount of staff you would have to carry would be crazy. You also don't know if it's zoned appropriately for a senior care home. A senior care home is typically a larger single family residence. So you're thinking, as a minimum, you want about 300 square feet per resident. So the sweet spot in the senior care homes is like 10 residents. So you would want a building, a single family that's at least 3,000 square feet, maybe 4,000 square feet. By the way, these properties are just sitting on the market. Nobody wants them because nobody knows what to do with them. What do you do with a 4,000 square foot single family starter home in an area with lower valuations that needs a lot of work? This is what you do. You get them converted into a group home. You get a license for 10 beds to 13 beds, and then you renovate it into a senior facility or some type of specialized housing facility. And then you can cash flow it. For the senior housing, you could put for each bed $5,000 a month on average, 4 to 5,000 a month. So that's 50,000 coming in off a 10-bed group home on a single family residence. And that's going to be your sweet spot for where you make the most money, typically as a small timer, we'll call it. When you get really big, it becomes more of a game of like how some of these guys talk about it. They talk about it like it's just like almost like a fast food restaurant where they're trying to cut margins to increase profitability. They're trying to cut down the cost of their food or of the drivers or of some of these smaller things because it's eating into the profit margins. But with a 70 unit commercial facility, it would, you would need $1 million to start up essentially. And then your overhead is going to be like $150,000 a month in just like employees, supplies. You're going to be heavily regulated. It's not something that the average person wants to get into. That sweet spot is really that single family, 4,000 square feet in a nice neighborhood, in an A-class neighborhood, where the children of the resident live. And that's usually in an area that has a income that is double the area average median income. So it's more affluent area. That's where you want to buy because people want to have their parents still be a part of the community. The average resident is about 81. So you're looking for people who are affluent in their 60s. Their parents are going to be your senior care home residents. And you want them to be close so that in 10 minutes they can get there, visit mom, visit dad, go to work, go do their thing. So there's a whole philosophy behind it. If anybody wants to do this, you definitely need specialized training to get into this business, but it's a very profitable business. You can make well over $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a month per deal. So off of one deal. And I have a training. If you click the links in the description, it'll take you to a free training that breaks this down. We have like 3 high cash flow strategies that we focus on, and it breaks them down. And that's even outside of Section 8, which also can be a very high cash flow strategy, in my opinion. So hopefully that helps. I wouldn't go after the 70 unit. You could have some zoning issues. Also, when you're dealing with schools, a lot of the times they have in those old floors, there's asbestos in those floors. The glue that they use for those old tile floors, it's like there's asbestos. So you have to do a full remediation to turn that into residential. There could be lead in the building. You might have to lead abate. I mean, some of these things could be astronomical. So I would probably leave it alone. We got more subscribers. Can you cut out the wholesaler by skip tracing the actual owner? Would let underlying contract lapse and then negotiate the deal directly. You can if the underlying contract lapses. That happens a lot. But you don't necessarily need to wait out the wholesaler if the deal is profitable. I mean, how I look at it is if a wholesaler brings me a deal and it's profitable and there's like a 5K markup on it, I'm going to do the deal. I don't care that they made 5K off the deal. Let them make their money. They're part of the ecosystem, in my opinion. Even part of our steps, step 5, is network with other wholesalers, because the wholesaler, to a degree, is your friend, especially when you're a creative financing specialist. You can cut them out, certainly, but they're your friend in a sense, because they're going to run around, they're going to door knock, they're going to send out flyers, they're going to blast text, they're going to drive for dollars, they're going to do all this stuff and market and spend their time and energy to find profitable deals and then bring them to you. They're also going to have deals that they don't know what to do with. They are going to run into the door and that person say, look, I can't sell you this property for $50K. I owe too much money. I'm underwater on the mortgage. I'm upside down on the mortgage. They are going to run into those scenarios. And the wholesaler, your typical wholesaler, I say 90% of them out there, they don't know anything about creative financing. So when they run into that situation, they're just like, this is a dead lead. So you can actually network with other wholesalers and ask them for their dead leads. Hey, do you have any dead leads? Any people, you couldn't get a deal done, but they were looking to sell, but you just couldn't figure out, how to do a deal. You don't even have to give them that much of a clue, but you can just say, look, anybody that, you couldn't wholesale a deal, I got kind of a private lender. They're interested in doing something, and, I might be able to work with them. And they'll just be like, sure, talk to these people. This guy's underwater on his mortgage. This guy's this. And you'll be like, okay, subject to lease purchase. Like they'll just feed you leads because they don't know what to do with them. So you should be out networking with other wholesalers. If you learn enough about construction and development to be able to take a wholesale deal as the developer and make money off of it, then you love wholesalers. You want more of them. I keep a network of wholesalers because they're profitable. They're profitable to be around at the end of the day. There's no reason to not have them. Guys, if you get value, like, comment, subscribe, share the content with somebody else you want to get value. That's even more important, arguably. Step 6, build out your network of lending partners. So some people kind of wait, in my opinion, too late in the game to start looking at lending relationships. I always tell you guys, you need multiple lenders. You need hard money lenders, portfolio lenders. Those are the people who will write you like non-qualified mortgages for 30-year fixed mortgages on rental properties. You need credit unions. You need multiple credit cards. You need as much liquidity as possible in this game. Local lenders, small banks, big banks. You just want to have a lot of relationships because I keep my lenders like credit cards. If you have, sometimes you're getting a loan or you're doing deals and you're talking to the lender and they're like, yeah, bring it. We want to do more deals. We're good to go. So you just keep lining up deals. Then you show up with 5 more properties and they're like, oh, that's outside of our bucket. Our principal is now kind of being hard on us. They want us to kind of wait until you wrap up these deals. And you're like, bro, I got 5 properties on 30-day contracts. These things got to close. I'm not losing these deals. These deals are profitable. So then you take them to their competition. But you tell them, hey, if you don't want them, I'm going to take them to somebody else. Well, we feel like you just shouldn't do them because it would be not too conservative. And you're like, no, I'm going to do them anyway. I'm just going to take them to your competition and let them finance them. And then they end up financing them. But you need those other relationships to be able to navigate. If you don't have the relationships on the lending side, you're going to run into deals that are profitable that you can't do because you can't get them financed because you didn't take the time to build the proper relationships ahead of time. So it's very important to constantly be building relationships. You might also, if you're getting into this wholesale stuff or this off-market deal flow, you might need transactional lenders, guys who will step in with, $5,000 earnest money deposit to lock a deal up, a profitable deal, where it's like, hey, we're going to get you $100K. This deal's worth $400,000. We'll get you $100K. Here's $5,000. We'll see you at the closing table in 90 days. And they're like, cool. You can take the 5, spend it, whatever you want. You get the transactional lender, let them handle the earnest money deposit, and then you focus your effort on going out and finding the end buyer. So these are the steps, guys. These are not the steps to then get rid of that deal, but these are the steps to get your hands on profitable off-market deals. So many people are struggling to get off-market deals because they just aren't following any of these steps. And a lot of people don't even teach them any of these steps. And there's a lot more to this. Like, you need to learn how to underwrite deals. You need to learn how to run comps and build rehab budgets and do all these other things, these other disciplines that we teach in our 100 Keys Masterclass and in the one-on-one mentorship program, where I work with you guys, one-on-one to kind of build up your education. But you got to pick the location. You got to create the marketing plan. You have to create a follow-up system so that you're chasing down people and getting those 6 out of 10 that require more nurturing. You have to have multiple solutions to the problem. So when you get on the phone with them, you can make more sales, make more money, get more value out of your leads. You don't want to be the guy running around trying to wholesale. And then if the deal doesn't work as a wholesaler, you're just like, I don't know, throw your hands in the air. That's a waste of time. If you got a good lead and there was a way to make money off of that lead, why would you not educate yourself to the level where you can make money no matter who you're talking to? So you have to get to that level. And then you have to network with other wholesalers because they're going to be generating leads that they don't know what to do with, and they're going to give them to you. So there's no cheaper. If you think about a marketing plan, one of your best marketing plans could be just networking with wholesalers, just building a network, building relationships, and getting leads. There's actually companies that will charge $15,000-$20,000 just for that information I just told you. That's all they teach people how to do. Here's how you network with other wholesalers, and then they educate you on creative financing. And they're like, that's the play. Now go build your network, and then you'll get leads, and then you'll start making money. Like they sell a $15,000 course for that information. But we're here to give you guys value. So you want to network as much as possible. That's a free strategy. That's free leads that don't require you going out and doing any marketing, any sweat equity, anything. So it's one of the most direct paths. And then build out your network of lenders, transactional funders, and all these other types of partners so that you can get a good deal done when it's there. You want to make sure you can get it financed. We'll answer, as many questions as you guys have. So even if you have questions that aren't related directly to this, make sure you ask them. We'll just keep pounding through your questions until we run out of questions. And, then we'll wrap this thing up. But guys, if you're getting value, like, comment, subscribe, share the content with somebody else you want to get value, and click the links in the description if you want to reach out to me or my team about any of the programs, the Boots on the Ground program where we build houses for you, the real estate ride along March 23rd. That's a Saturday. Spend a day with me in Philly. There's no, that I will say, the ride along, there's no experience like going on a real estate ride along with somebody who's built hundreds of houses. This is the experience that I wish I had access to when I started. If I did nothing else, if I just did a real estate ride along when I was getting started, I probably would have saved myself from $250,000 worth of mistakes when it mattered the most. When I was the brokest, when I was just getting started, when those losses were the most painful, I would have protected myself from that just by going on a real estate ride along with somebody like myself. But there was nobody really offering them at the end of the day. So I had to just figure it out. But the school of hard knocks is not the way. No matter what people tell you, no matter how much money you have, I've heard it all before. Oh, I only got 10, 15 grand. Shouldn't I just take that money and put it into a deal? You can take that money and get burned and lose it and be stuck and still have no knowledge. And now you got no money and no knowledge. You would have been better off taking some of that capital, getting knowledge, and learning how to execute with less capital. Because no matter what, even if you lost the money, you have the knowledge. With the knowledge, the money comes to it. A lot of us don't know that. The knowledge of real estate, if you had ultimate knowledge of real estate, you wouldn't even need money. You could just go raise it. You could raise 100K like that if you had all the knowledge you need and the systems and resources and you knew what to do. But so many people will, as they're starting off from that broke position, which I've been there. When I started, I was making less than $30,000 a year, verifiable. I got the tax returns, like I got receipts. I wasn't making anything. So when you're starting there, you're of that scarcity mindset still. It takes you so long to stack up your first 10 or your first 15 or your first 20 that you don't want to let it go. But you have to put it into your head. You have to take the money and convert it into knowledge, put it in your head. You will learn how to make way more money. That is a problem that you need to solve. If you feel very concerned about investing your money in knowledge or even in real estate because it took you so long to save it, that's even more reason to learn more. You need to learn how to make that seem like an inconsequential amount of money. That's what you need to do. You need to learn so much about real estate that you look at 20 grand and you're like, I could cover that. That's one deal. That's nothing. That's going to unlock you and turn you into a new person. Here's another question. So does the CRM program does manage relationship management, not just a customer? I'm not sure exactly what the question is because of how it's written, but a CRM program it's just software that's going to track a lead. So if you skip traced somebody, let's say I skip traced 1,000 leads and I sent out a text and the text was like, hey, I'm a local developer buying properties. I just bought a property in your neighborhood and noticed your house on 123 Main Street. Was wondering if you'd be interested in a cash offer. No contingencies. Quick close in 10 days. So they're like, cool. All right. I get some responses back. I I send out 1,000, I get a 1% response rate. So I get like, a handful of leads, right? I get 10 leads. When those leads come in, the CRM program is going to pop those to the front of the software. Leads are coming back. Now you can take them, you can tag them, put them into a separate bucket. These are hot leads now because the people are responsive. And then you can put automations on those leads. Okay, send these hot leads this automation sequence. It's going to send them an email every day, educating them on the benefits of creative financing for sellers, how it can help them out of their situation, and how it can get them more value for their equity. And it starts drip marketing, but it's getting touches. It's getting your name out there, your name right in front of that prospect. So it's going to do a lot of heavy lifting for you. So it's going to outcompete somebody who does not have, that software or the bandwidth to manually send out those messages. Will you go live during the real estate ride along with a subscription fee? No, I don't like to go live during ride alongs. I don't like to go live during ride alongs. I like the ride alongs to be for the people who are there. It's kind of how I like to do them. You guys can see clips on Instagram here and there. You can get little snippets. But I really like to spend my time. Like if I was live, I could hire somebody to sit there and chase me with a camera, another person. But I don't want to be talking to the camera. I don't want to be dealing with the live. I want to be dealing with the people that are there. And I want it to be kind of their experience, in my opinion. I like to bring out, 10 to 15 people. And I want to be 100% dedicated to making sure that everybody who is at the ride along is getting maximum value and getting all their questions answered. It may be something I do in the future, but it's not something that I intend to do. I like keeping it kind of closer to the chest and some of the things that we talk about, because a lot of things come up at those ride alongs, and I don't want to be on a stage essentially. So that ride along is an opportunity to really spend the day with me, boots on the ground, in kind of raw format. Like we're just talking about anything. Nothing is off the table. Sometimes we might be at a ride along. Somebody asks me something about a lender, like, "Hey, what do you think of this lender?" And if I don't like them, I want to trash them. And I'll tell them, I'll tell the truth. I'll trash them. I don't want to trash them on a freaking live, and then it's sitting out there, because I don't want to impact anybody's business like that. But for my people, if they're asking me who to deal with, I'm going to direct them and tell them who to deal with. So there's just different things. I think that having that as a live, it opens up an opportunity for me to be inauthentic, and that's not who I am or what I like to be. How does out-of-state contractors hold? You'd have to re-ask that question. I'm not sure what that question is. I heard somebody talking about wholesaling a deal to themselves to use the assignment fee to fund the down payment on a deal, but I didn't completely understand it. Any thoughts on that? That's a good question. There are people out there who will do that. So there's technically nothing against that. Like you could start two separate companies. So you could have a developer, a development company that is coming in and doing the construction stuff. Then you can have a wholesale company, and this company kind of just wholesales, finds properties, marks them up, and sell them. And then you can have a property management company. So you can have separate verticals that you all own. So you might be selling a company from your wholesale company to your development company with a markup, and then get a lender to finance the development company's deal. So you come in as the wholesaler, and you might be on it and have partners, somebody else with signing authority. So they come and sign off on a deal as the wholesaler, and at a markup, and they take down a 10,000 commission, but the lender came in with the capital to finance 100% of the purchase. So it's almost like the lender, boom, paid you the wholesale fee because they're financing the deal. And now the development company is taking the lender's money and using the acquisition money for the purchase of the property and then the renovation of the property. So in that sense, because you owned all the companies, you would have benefited from the wholesale commission and the development deal with the lender's money. Now the lenders hate it, and they don't like that. And if they find out you're doing that, they'll probably fire you. Like they don't want to deal with you. But that's up to your craftiness level. If you can structure it in a way where you can get that done, and people aren't asking questions, and it's just kind of flying under the radar, it's fine. It's not illegal, right? It's just something that the lender's going to feel like you're squeezing them somehow. It's just like a double close at the end of the day. Like, it's not like it's illegal to mark up the deal and sell it, but when you do it and people are looking at your profit and feeling like that came out of their pocket somehow, they don't want to finance the deal. So it's just part of the game. It's just part of the game. D says you're a true wealth of resource of knowledge. Definitely happy to help. The guy said use 2 LLCs, one for him and one for his wife. Yeah, you can use multiple LLCs and kind of structure it that way. He said the guy talking about it is also a hard money lender. So he knows the game. I mean, he's probably seen it happen. I mean, people are doing all types of things on these hard money deals. You can also, there are scenarios where people will inflate the rehab budget a little bit and then take down some of the profitability off of the loan. There's a lot of things you can do. At the end of the day, you're on the hook as a personal guarantor for the loan. So it's not like you're really getting away with anything because you're guaranteeing a loan. So the more money you take from the lender, the more money you owe in one way, shape, or form. But if the deal can support it with cash flow to cover the debt and service the debt, then it makes sense. You take as much money as you can, as long as you can comfortably service it with the debt, and you'll be good. Guys, if you have more questions, just drop them in the chat section. We'll keep flowing for as long as you guys have questions, and then we'll wrap this thing up. Doing deals out of state, what will hold a contractor responsible for completing the job and not getting burnt or unfinished work by scheduling date? Doing deals out of state, what will hold just a contract. So your contractor should have you should have a construction contract. That's going to lay out the terms of the agreement. If they run over, or if they, don't complete the job, then you don't have to pay them. So you also need a payment structure that makes sense, where you're not paying them too much money up front, where they're always in a position to burn you. So you need to have the proper setups in place so that the contractor is getting paid by the lender to a degree through draws. And those draws come out when the work is done. That's the easiest way to structure it so that you don't get burned. And then a scheduling date will be a mechanism of the contract and creating some types of penalties for overage. So if the project runs too long, there's a penalty. And that's how you do it. D said, I absolutely need to know more about that CRM. I need that platform system. Yeah, some of these CRM programs, they don't cost you anything. That's one of the things I learned working at a startup is the software that you can get your hands on. If you can leverage it correctly, it can 10x your profitability, and it doesn't cost anything. It might cost, most of these programs cost less than $100 a month. Most of them are like in the $50 a month range, but they can 10x your leverage. So instead of having to hire a virtual assistant, you can just program software. By program, I mean just write a couple emails and set some automations. I mean, this stuff is plug and play. You don't need to be a coder. And you can get the leverage of a virtual assistant, especially where AI and technology is going right now. They have AI technology that can cold call, and it's starting to sound pretty close to, a virtual assistant at the end of the day. So you can definitely make a lot of money doing that. Yes, that is a double close without the formality. He should use your advice with the double close. People feel like they're getting burned at the end of the day. People definitely can feel like they are getting burned. Michael King, a few weeks ago, you discussed managing the property manager. Do you have any additional tips for out-of-town property managers? Just, manage the manager is, I would say, a visibility thing more than anything. I mean, you want to make sure your licenses are together. You just want to make sure you're getting quarterly inspections. I think the number one system you can have in place is a quarterly inspection, getting somebody out to the property, even if there's a service charge on that. Oh, that's going to cost you, $40, $50 to send somebody out, shoot some videos, or $25 or whatever it is. Get somebody to the property once a quarter on all of your tenanted properties. Have them just walk the property, shoot the video. I want to see the general condition of my building, because seeing you should only expect what you inspect in this business. If you're not inspecting your properties frequently, you're going to get burned eventually, because a lot of these property managers are managing hundreds or thousands of properties. So your property, if you're not doing the quarterlies or forcing that, they're probably not doing it, because they don't want to go see 1,000 properties or even 250 properties every quarter. So they're probably not going to do it. Maybe they do it once a year, or maybe they just go in and look anytime there's a maintenance issue or somebody moves out. So that could be 2-3 years. You have no idea what's going on with your property. So you might come back in 3 years and it's like you've been getting the rent and everything's been cool, but now your house is beat to hell. And had you known that, you would have gotten that tenant out, or you would have done something years prior to prevent that from happening. But it's really your fault, because you have to manage the manager. You have to care. You have to understand nobody's going to care about your property more than you. Nobody's going to care. And the property management relationship is one of the most uneven relationships in real estate. Even like for our boots on the ground people, we only charge 5% within the boots on the ground program. So that means if I'm managing the property with my in-house team, you're taking down 95% of the gross rental income. I'm taking down 5%. I'm doing that for my boots on the ground people, just to increase profitability and provide leverage within that program, and allow people to kind of continue to grow their portfolio without spending an arm and a leg. But you just think about that. You know, would you go do 100% of the work and take 5% of the profit, or even 10% of the profit? Nobody really does that in any other business, but in the property management business, that's customary. So while that is there, there's going to be some corner cuts potentially from most people, from most groups. So you just want to make sure you're managing the manager, you're doing what you can out here at the end of the day. That's just what I've learned over the course of time. I've had issues, I've had lead violations, I've had lead abatements that happen because of bad management at the end of the day. So there can be some of that. D said, yes, you're speaking my philosophy, standard quarterly inspections to get out and stay ahead of the property issues and tenant issues. That's the nurturing of protecting your business and investment. Absolutely. It's your business. It's your investment. These are your properties. You know, that's how you manage the manager. Make sure you're staying on top of things. If you have questions, make sure you're reaching out. Talk to your property management company too. It's not all about being negative on your property management company. If you're too negative, they'll just fire you. And then you can go deal with somebody worse potentially. But use your property management company as a resource. They're there to also educate you. If you have questions, they can educate you on best practices, how things normally happen, how evictions happen, rent collection procedures. They can educate you on a lot of these things too. And that can be, you know, for benefit. So guys, it looks like we've tapped out of questions. We're going for about 1 hour and 10 minutes. So hopefully this helped. Once again, if you're interested in any of our free trainings, click the links in the description. If you want to tap into my one-on-one VIP mentorship program, just reach out. We don't have a ton of capacity or availability. You know, more people are tapping in, and we're working on good projects with you guys, really interesting projects. But definitely reach out. Don't sit on the sideline. Don't wait. Stop sitting around waiting for your family and, you know, friends and people to believe in you. Ain't nobody going to believe in you. And most people don't want to see you win anyway. That's just the truth. They don't want to see you win because they don't feel like they're winning. They don't believe in themselves. Why would they believe in you? What's the point of that? What's the benefit of that? So you believe in you. And I mean, even your spouse, for a lot of you listening, even your spouse might not believe in you, or they're more conservative than you, or they have no financial IQ and they're afraid of it. You going to them and saying, hey, real estate, what do you think? You already know what they're going to think. They're not going to do it. They're going to tell you, you can't do that. You know, the family, you got to think about the family. I am thinking about the family. I'm trying to build real estate. I'm trying to break myself free from the 9 to 5 so I can spend more time with the kids and build this thing up and build us cash flow. I am thinking about the family. Not getting started is not thinking about the family. That's thinking about you and being afraid of, you know, your own self, your own results. But getting out there, learning knowledge and getting started, that's going to get you to where you want to go. That's going to get you to the next level. So you guys got to do that. And if you're around Saturday, March 23rd, tap into the real estate ride along. We only have maybe 4 or 5 tickets left. Tap into that real estate ride along. It'll be transformational for you. It will get you to the next level. It will remove the fear of real estate. And it is the most, I think, valuable experience anybody who wants to be in this real estate investment game can do. Go do a ride along, spend a day with developers, spend a day in a city, navigating it, seeing full gut renovation projects, picking somebody's brain, meeting other like-minded investors from all over the country who are out doing this thing, taking a leap of faith, jumping and allowing that net to appear. And that's that. Yeah, Jordan, I got your text about the Boots on the Ground program. We are at capacity, but you've been with us for a while. I can definitely, get you in if it's something you want to do. So we'll talk about it. Guys, hope this helped. Brian Grimes, your real estate mentor. I'll see you guys on the next one.